Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're tired of grinding and hitting a glass ceiling, well then you've come to the right video. I am going to skip all of the fluff. I'm going to show you guys the exact daily routine that I have been using in Marvel Rivals to develop better mechanics, as well as get better decision making and work with my team better. If you do this routine every day, it's going to take a little bit of hard work, but I promise that you can see the exact same results that I did. I promise you I am no god or not necessarily even particularly skilled when it comes to the mechanics of the game. I like to say that I can get good at games through my decision making. This video is all going to be about daily practice and what I did in order to get from, well, original gold was the first rank that I kind of got stuck at, all the way through diamond. I spent a long time in diamond, and then eventually to GM. It's going to be a good video, lots of really good information in here, so grab some popcorn. Let's get right into it. So the first thing I do is head into the practice range. I spend 2 minutes, actually no, I spend, how long is it? I do 10 2-minute runs. So I spend 20 minutes each morning in the practice range. And there's a few benefits for that. The first thing is that it's concentrated aim practice. You don't get the same amount of repetitions when you're in a competitive lobby because of the respawn timers, essentially. The other benefit of doing this, essentially what that allows is, because it's concentrated, it allows you to improve your aim faster, your flick shots faster, and just hone in on all of this stuff faster, right? The other thing that it allows you to do is to turn off your ability cooldowns. So with Bucky, your hook is everything. And the biggest difference I saw between me and the really, really good players that I was watching was the really, really good players were hitting almost every hook. So, for example, what you could do is head into the practice range and no ability cooldown and just land, 20 hooks in a row for 5 minutes or however long you want to. Personally, for me, I did 10 2 minutes every day. I switched up the champions so that I could, practice my combos on different champions. But this is the start of my routine. After that, I'd head into a VOD review. I'd review a game from the other day, not too soon after, because then I would just make myself angry. But where the practice range was something that I did in order to practice my mechanics, the VOD review gives you sort of higher level, I guess, understanding, whether you're making mistakes because you're disconnected from your healers, or if you're missing opportunities because you're not getting stagger kills, which can lead to you getting more checkpoints. Sometimes getting those stagger kills are really valuable. The other thing I did was I watched a ton of YouTube videos, and I watched the best players all the time just to see what they were doing differently than me, and I totally recommend that you do the same. Now, I know this is a Bucky guide, and we'll talk about Bucky's kit, but I do want to say that being adaptable, I don't think you can get to GM, unless you're Shroud, right? With just maining one champ. I play Punisher, Bucky, and No More. I'll play No More when they have a dive comp. I'll play Punisher if they have too many people in the air or somebody stole Bucky from me, right? Or if it's just a map that has really good turret spots. Most of the time I do play Bucky, you can see there, but being adaptable is important. You can't win every game as Bucky. Magneto counters you pretty hard. If you're going up against a Magneto and a Strange, you're probably better switching to Punisher. Those shields and those bubbles just get in your way too much. The final step for my morning routine is just loading up a couple of quick play games. The purpose of these is to sort of implement the sort of new combos that you discovered when you were in the practice range. That is where I would recommend sort of practicing your combos and discovering new combos. Quick play allows you to implement those, as well as implement, sort of some of the positional things that you were learning whenever you were reviewing your VODs. It also gives you a gauge for how well you are playing. If you lose your quick play game, I promise you, if you're in Diamond trying to get to GM, you're not going to win your comp game if you lost your quick play game. I can promise you that. So, it can tell you if you're playing dog water before you actually go out and play dog water. I usually play 1 or 2, and then I just head into comp right after. Everyone, I wanted to cover just a couple of the basic combos. So the first one is just going to be hook, uppercut, shoot, melee attack. That's going to take care of all of the 275 health champions. Hook, uppercut, shoot, melee attack. I'm not going to spend too much time on these. When you get to tanks, you're going to want to try to spread out your abilities a little bit more because your Any one of your abilities will reload your gun, so just do 3 bullets, any ability, doesn't matter which one, and then you'll get 3 more bullets, and that's how you get more consistent DPS on the tanks. With 250 health champions, all you need to do is shoot, hook, uppercut, shoot. That's sort of an accelerated combo that you can use to take care of 250 health champions. And if you're able to land a headshot on a 275 health champion, you can run that exact same combo. You can run the accelerated combo as well. So that's it. I'd say for me, gold was all about champion mastery, right? Once you sort of understand your champion and where and when to be, you can go from gold to plat. Getting from plat to diamond, to, I can only speak from my personal experience, was sort of an increase in mechanical skill, right? I did notice a big jump in the average skill level mechanic-wise from in platinum. So you had to match that, but then also to get to diamond, the key was working with your team and communication, right? And that's where, I think that's where the actual separation was. In diamond, that's where you'll see teams actually working together well, actually being aware of the other team's ults and using their abilities accordingly, or positioning themselves accordingly. Yeah, I mean, obviously using your mic and communicating how you're gonna get these ults to work together or how you're gonna play around the enemy's ults, super important, right? The other thing that I noticed in Diamond was sort of an increased level of awareness. My stupid flanks weren't working so well. Bucky, he can do off angles okay. He doesn't have that much mobility to escape, so you know, usually you're playing with your tanks. You're playing right up there with your tanks. So that you can get a hook and displace one of the enemy's tanks. Only every once in a while will you try to get an off angle. I think it's usually a losing strategy. Usually you're right up there in the front line. So anyway, yeah, I really started getting punished for those stupid flanks I was doing because the enemy team's awareness was just so much higher. Awareness of, you know, the flanker's positioning, but also awareness of the other team's abilities. So the biggest thing I noticed in terms of a team dynamic from Diamond to GM was target prioritization, and you can see it in that clip right there, where me and Punisher are using the rocket infinite ammo to focus down one enemy at a time, right? So it's all about focusing, being smart about who your team is focusing, and making sure you're not spreading out your damage. If you have your mic, like calm whoever you really want to laser down. I saw this meme on Instagram of this team that like all they would say was just the name of the character they wanted to shoot. That's all they would do in comms. So they'd go like Bucky, 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 Iron Man, Iron Man, Iron Man, Iron Man, Iron Man, Iron Man, the thing, you know, and they would just do that and focus like, and apparently their squad went all the way from whatever the fuck they were before all the way to GM. So I'd say that actually is something I noticed in GM was the target prioritization or the target fire or the collective focus onto one person was actually a lot better. So if you're in Diamond right now and you're trying to look for what the difference is, I think that's actually the biggest difference. Start calming with your team who you're firing at and who you're focusing pretty much at all times. But sort of going past that, your hook is everything. It's what separates the good Buckies from the bad Buckies. Your job is pretty much always to, one of two things, pick off someone who's vulnerable or someone who thinks they're safe in the backline but really isn't. But 70% of the time, your job with your hook is to displace the enemy's tank. Displace the enemy's tank, hook them, bring them behind you, and then punch them into your team. And you can displace the enemy's tank 30 meters, right? You can literally bring them all the way back to your healers consistently. And that's your main job as Bucky. That's why he's such a disgusting champ to play against, right? Because you're pushing, and if they manage to land a hook on your tank, your push can end very quickly, right? Your shift gives you a 50 shield instead of 30, so it gives you more shield than your other abilities. It's a knock-up and a dash, so it's extremely good for duels because it might give you that little bit of extra health you need, but it also helps you line up the next shot. So, but it's also your only movement, your only mobility, so you need to be careful about how you use it. And your E is basically it's on a short cooldown. It doesn't do that much damage. Its usefulness is as a reload. You use it pretty much on cooldown every single time it comes up. Use it off of cooldown every single time it comes up just to boost your DPS, to break down group walls, to break down shields. Just fire, 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 shoot that big glowing ball. I don't even know what the ability's called. fire, 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 right? That it's basically its purpose as a cooldown. It will go through enemy shields, so sometimes you can finish off Stranges and Magnetos with that. Alright guys, if you're going to take away 5 things from this video, raise my hand a little higher. Those 5 things are: 1, do 20 minutes of practice shooting every time before you hop into comp. 2, do VOD reviews. 3, make sure you're doing quick play before you're going into comp. And 4, make sure that your target prioritization is good and synchronized with your team. And 5, last thing is make sure that you don't tunnel vision the enemy dive DPS. Make sure that you're focusing the enemy tanks with your hook so that you can displace the enemy tanks and dismantle their push before it comes through. Alright, those 5 things, remember those 5 things, do that routine every morning, and I promise you, you will get better at the game. Okay, bye.
Judge, jury,
Oh shit.
executioner!
We don't have to talk about it.